The word Satan calls up a lot of very evocative imagery. A horned figure with a trident, calling his demon armies to do, whatever demon armies do. Suck out people's souls, torture sinners in the afterlife. Honestly, I have no idea, because the Jewish Satan doesn't do any of those things. In fact, Satan barely shows up in Jewish texts at all, and when he does, he's not exactly what you might expect. But that doesn't stop some people from thinking the Jews worship him.
Satanic ritual?
Oh, all the time.
And their proof for that is the Talmud, which they claim is full of satanic elements. So what's the deal? Why are some people convinced that the Talmud comes directly from the Dark Prince himself? The Hebrew word Satan means to oppose or to obstruct, and the role of the Satan, or in Hebrew, Hasatan, is to tempt human beings into making bad choices without overwhelming our free will.
Release the evil.
English translations of the Hebrew Bible call him the adversary, which, by the way, is a great name for a professional wrestler. In Judaism, Satan isn't a fallen angel or a supernatural force. He represents a concept, the internal temptation to do the wrong thing. So the idea that we worship him is pretty absurd. And the idea that the Talmud, of all things, proves this so-called satanic relationship is honestly laughable. Now, at this point, you might be wondering, wait, what's this Talmud thing anyway? Well, the short answer is that it's a book of arguments about the best way to observe Jewish law. And if you're like, hold up, I thought Jewish law came from the Torah. Well, sort of. Think of it this way. If the Torah is the story of Judaism, outlining its basic rules, the Talmud is like its instruction manual. It's chatty, argumentative, digressive instruction manual that goes on for 63 volumes with many, many footnotes written in a kind of shorthand in Aramaic. So unless you spent years studying it, it's totally incomprehensible and mysterious. Thousands of Jews around the world study the Talmud every day, one dense, double-sided page at a time. And when they're done with all 63 volumes, which takes more than 7 years by the way, they start all over again. It's the world's largest and most esoteric book club, featuring hundreds of years worth of arguments about the minutiae of Jewish law. For example, debating precisely how to keep Shabbat. It's hard to think of anything less satanic. Unless, of course, you have a bone to pick with the rabbis. Then you might be motivated to make up some spicy lies about the book they spent all their time studying. You see where I'm going with this? So who was the first to make up the lie that the Talmud is satanic? That would be Nicholas Donat. He's the villain in our story. Our Satan, if you will. Nick was born in France at the turn of the 13th century, though that wasn't always his name, because Nick was born Jewish.
Oi, 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 Gewalt!
To be honest, Nick had an even harder time than most Jews. He was always challenging the rabbis. He wanted to follow the Bible literally. And they were like, we don't do that. Eventually, their fight grew so bitter that the Jewish community excommunicated him in a humiliating spectacle in front of the entire congregation. For over a decade, Donnan lived a lonely life, a Jew without a community, until he found the Franciscans. They were looking for converts. He was looking for revenge. It was the perfect match.
I probably don't. OJ Shadowball, communist hybrid Marcus Nutricula Sad Coomer 7 years, 84 months of this shit, Lily.